Hast du das Stanley Parable schon mal gespielt? Nein. Bitte passen Sie den Regler so an, dass der Computer gerade noch sichtbar ist. Bro, niemals. Wenn ich das jetzt so einstelle, sieht man hinterher wieder rein gar nichts. Deswegen mache ich es ein gutes Stück heller. So. Nee, so wird schon milchig. So ist, glaube ich, okay. So ist, glaube ich, okay. Gib die aktuelle Zeit danach. Du Scheiße, Alter. Warte kurz. Wir haben, äh, wir haben 7:15 PM. Wir haben 7:15 Postmeridium. Hinweis. Einstellungen zur Barrierefreiheit können über das Hauptmenü vorgenommen werden. Okay. Warum will der die Uhrzeit bei mir unbedingt wissen? Heilige Scheiße, ist das Spiel laut. Warte mal. Okay, das ist schon ein gutes Stück besser. So, es gibt Musik und es gibt einen Okay, es gibt einen Erzähler. Alles klar. Also einfache Steuerung. Geil. Einfache Steuerung. Alles ist interagiert. Okay, gut. Verstehe. Sehr viel einfacher. Ich könnte sonst nicht spielen. Voila. Dann komme ich jetzt wieder zurück. So. Okay. Nee, X interagieren reicht mir. Umsehen, bewegen, ducken L2, pausieren ist halt Start. Okay, ja. Ich denke, das kriege ich hin. Ich glaube, meine... Warte mal. LOL. Oh mein Gott. Seht ihr das? Der Computer ist unendlich. Seht ihr das da hinten rechts beim Computer? Der ist unendlich groß. Man sieht das Menü da mehrmals. Heilige Scheiße. Ja gut. Hallo meine lieben Freunde. Willkommen zu The Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition. Kam jetzt für PlayStation Plus raus. Ich habe das irgendwann vor gefühlten bei ein paar YouTubern gesehen, wie es rausgekommen ist. 10 Jahre könnte hinkommen. Ja, so 10, 8 Jahre ist es bestimmt auf jeden Fall her. Und ja, das Spiel ist auch schon ordentlich alt, hat eine Deluxe-Edition bekommen vor einer Zeit. Ich weiß nicht, was genau darin enthalten ist. Ich weiß nur noch aus dem Kopf, dass Stanley Parable ein ziemlich verwirrendes Spiel ist. Es ist so ein wortwörtlicher Hirnbums Gedöns, ja, Brainrot, basically. Ich kann mich an quasi nichts mehr aus dem Spiel erinnern. Ich weiß nur irgendwie Büro und es gibt einen Erzähler, haben wir gerade gesagt bekommen. Und ja, das hier ist mein neuer Job, meine lieben Freunde. Ich habe einen Bürojob bekommen, Alter, nachdem Lottoarzt nicht mehr wirklich funktioniert hat. Die Leute wollten sich irgendwie nicht mehr von mir operieren lassen, keine Ahnung warum. Bin ich jetzt ins Büro versetzt worden und wir wollen nur noch direkt mal The end is never the end. The end is never the end. The end is never the end.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Was? Okay. Kann ich mich nicht einfach wieder hinsetzen? Ich will aber arbeiten. Warum kann ich mit meinem PC nicht interagieren, wenn ich ihn genau angucke, aber wenn ich leicht schräg gucke? Okay. Sogar hier kann ich... Hä? Ah nein. Das ist einfach allgemein das Geräusch. Okay. I hate Mondays. Ich hasse Montage. Warum slide ich so komisch, wenn ich laufe? Das fuckt mich ja jetzt schon hart ab, Alter. Warum slide ich? Warte mal. Wenn ich aufhöre zu laufen, slide ich noch so ein Stück weiter. Oh Gott, das wird mich richtig abfucken, Alter. Okay. Hallo? Toni? Toni? Hey, Toni? George? Hey, George, bist du da? Komm schon, Kumpel. Komm schon.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hallo, Leute?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Hallo? Hallo, Leute? Hallo? Wir müssen Strom sparen, Alter. Hallo?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Okay. Junge, dieser Erzähler ist jetzt schon geil. Er kommentiert wirklich alles. Hallo? Alle draußen sind ganz schön hell, du. Ich kann ja gar nichts sehen. Hallo? 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 Warum sind die geöffnet? Hallo? 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 Achso, ist das ein Blatt? Also, so Blätter. Irgendwie sowas. Hallo? Was mache ich hier?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I don't think so.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
He wanted to go to the lounge just to admire it. Okay, gefällt mir jetzt schon.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Ja.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Ah. Ja. Kann ich mir einen Drink holen, bitte? Oh, ich hab keinen.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
Yep.
Really worth it.
Ja, das ist schon geil. Hier diese Mitarbeiter-Lounge, meine Fresse, ey, ist das geil hier.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Alter, ist der fies! Tschüss! Alter, der Erzähler ist ein richtiger Sack. Was liegt denn da, Alter?
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, He decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Also soll ich vielleicht zurückgehen? Nö, ich checke gar nichts. Das ist ja cool. Aber ist das alles die gleichen Tassen? Hashtag 1Dad. Sagt er noch was? Oder ist er jetzt einfach genervt und sagt nichts mehr? Hier steht denn hier so auf den Tasten drauf? Coffee Nut. Diesen jetzt. Tschüss. Oha. Komm, jetzt will ich da nochmal drauf. Ja! Ich stehe auf der Kaffeemaschine! Okay. Gut. Nee, ich glaube, der sagt jetzt nichts mehr. Ich glaube, der wartet nur darauf, dass ich jetzt das Zimmer verlasse. Okay, gut.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Ich könnte auch einfach... Könnte ich auch einfach nicht tun. Ich gehe lieber hier hin. Hallo? Hallo?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Hallo? Brauche ich ein Keycard? Hier brauche ich eine Schlüsselkarte.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
I'm
not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Habe ich jetzt irgendeinen darken Plot entdeckt oder was? Ich meine, es ist jetzt nicht schwer zu finden. Ich meine, man muss sich einfach...
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Was?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife? Who would commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Alter, ist ein Wichser.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Guten Morgen, Mitarbeiter. 427 Drücker, Stem Controller.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
Bitte stirb. Zack, weg. Okay, das ist gruselig. Okay, und jetzt fängt der ganze Scheiß von vorne an. Ah, so viel zu The End is never the end, hä? Und alles geht von vorne los. Okay, verstehe.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hallo? Hallo? Leute, wo seid ihr alle hin? Hallo? Hallo? Ich werde dieses Mal gucken, was bei der Tür unten rechts ist.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nein! Diesmal will ich gucken, was da hinten ist.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Danger everywhere. Okay. Mir ist ja schön. 2B1. Okay. Hallo? Hallo? Tobi? Tobi? No buckets past this point. This is a bucket. Dear God! Warning, do not stand on this side of fence. Uh-oh. No buckets past
Now
this
listen
point.
carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
I don't think so.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Vor allem der Akzent von den Hüten, der killt mich. Ist das geil. Hallo?
You see, there's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do
Ja.
not think I put a lot of time into that, because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead.
Soll ich mich jetzt entscheiden? Alter. Digga, ist jetzt jede Entscheidung, die ich hier treffe, ein anderes Ende? Halt dein Maul so. Ich könnte jetzt da reingehen und machen, was er jetzt gesagt hat, oder ich könnte halt wieder eine andere Tür nehmen und ihn übel ficken. Ich gehe jetzt da lang.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
5 von 5, das ist das beste Empfang meines Lebens.
You see, I knew I was onto something. Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
The Stanley Parable Worldwide Leaderboard. Was? Good old Neil is offline. Zweitiges Kind ist offline. Es gibt eine Intro Sequence only. Shows. Stanley ist online. 7. Ist das jetzt die Uhrzeit? 900. Okay, complete against over to improve your Stanley Parable career. Total doors open. Friends list is empty. Damn, das gefällt mir. Players are more attractive than Stanley. 98,9% aller Spieler sind mehr attraktiv als Stanley. Damn, bro, das gefällt mir. Yo, jetzt nehme ich die Tür. Hallo?
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Immerhin eine 4,
I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Soll ich das Ding mal... Ich lasse das Ding jetzt ins Feuer laufen.
You heartless bastard. What do you do?
You
hate
heartless
babies or
bastard.
purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley?
What
What's
the
our
fuck?
backstory? What is our motivation?
Hey,
Well, it
wait.
seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Hä, Digga, ist das Spiel Firewatch? Das sieht irgendwie sauhart aus wie Firewatch. Digga, hä? Ist das einfach plötzlich fucking Firewatch oder was? Schön.
No, it can't be.
Wow. Ist das cool. Es wird da
It
einfach
is.
süchtig.
It's an open world game. Good God, quickly, block it off.
Block it off. Nein.
Thank goodness, Stanley, what a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Der Mann mag keine Entscheidung. Nein, lass mich hier, lass mich.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Nein, ich will ein Open World Game. Was ist das?
See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley,
Game
if you
design.
manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Hä, Digga? Hä?
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must.
Das
Okay,
ist
Stanley,
einfach
here's
Rocket
the
League,
ball.
Digga.
Have fun.
Oh, wow! Wow! Das ist einfach fucking Rocket League. Ich werd behindert hier. Es ist wirklich Rocket League, da ist
Are
sogar...
you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try
Nein.
hard. Here comes another ball.
Oh mein Gott!
Yes.
Zwei Bälle!
Goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable.
Komm schon.
More balls.
Boah, du Scheiße! Es spawnt einfach 500 Bälle. Rein da. Wo gehen die eigentlich hin? Oh nein.
What are you doing?
Nein! Das wollte es nicht! Oh oh. Jetzt mache ich ihn bestimmt pissig. Oh! Was ist das hier?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Oh. Oh oh, was habe ich getan? Ich bin aus dem Spiel gefallen. Ich bin unter der Map. Ich bin in unfertigen Bereichen. Oh nein. Oh Gott. Was habe ich getan? Das ist nicht gut. Oh Jesus. Oh Gott, jetzt bin ich in den Backrooms oder was? Oh Jesus. Was ist hier? Oh oh. Das ist, Digga. Dieses Spiel ist sowas von gaga. Ich liebe es. Hab ich gerade Schritte gehört? Ja, Junge, jetzt macht das hier nicht zu einem Horrorspiel. Alter Junge, das sind einfach legit die Backrooms. Heilige Scheiße. Irgendwie so die Office Rooms oder so, keine Ahnung. Okay. Hallo? 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 Hier ist Sukanda. Hallo? Sachen antippen. Kann ja nichts machen. Hallo?
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Okay, das machen wir nochmal, weil da gab es ein paar
All of his
Auswahlmöglichkeiten.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ich habe aber sowas von einem Memo verpasst, Bruder. Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of two open
Diesmal gehen
doors,
wir
this
einfach
was not the correct way to the meeting room, and
Ja, ja.
Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Ja, ja.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ja, ja.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business,
Er hat
Stanley
wieder
took the
er hat
first
irgendwas
open door
anderes
on his
gesagt,
left.
als das erste Mal, wo ich da reingerannt bin. Ich wollte mir jetzt nur nicht anhören, weil...
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
So, wieder hier hin,
Look,
dann da
Stanley, I think
runterjumpen
perhaps
und
we've
dann diesmal
gotten
die
off on
blaue
the
Tür
wrong
nehmen.
foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero
What?
consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you
No
something
buckets past
beautiful.
this point.
Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Okay, Red Door it is.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Hello? Hello?
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Wow. Das ist voll toll. Wow. Wow, voll schön. Wow. Boah, so viele Farben. Wow. Wow, ist das toll. Wow. So, genug. Lass mal wieder gehen. Der wird jetzt bestimmt pisst sein.
No, wait. Where are you going? Right. Where were we?
Fick dich! Fick dich!
Oh no! Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Oh Gott, jetzt wird's dark. Tschüss.
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
Whee! Ow!
Oh, thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
Nö, ich begehe jetzt Selbstmord.
No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
Oh mein Gott, ist das jetzt dark. Tschüss! What the fuck is going on here?
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
Oh Mann, jetzt tut er mir voll leid. Ach, tschüss. Vorhin dachte ich noch, was ein Arschloch. Dann fand ich seinen Akzent lustig. Dann dachte ich wieder, er ist ein Arschloch. Und jetzt habe ich Mitleid mit ihm.
Is this really how much you dislike my game? Did
Oh,
you throw
oh.
yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Oh mein Gott, jetzt tut er mir richtig leid. Uff. Oh Mensch. Ach du Scheiße, es ist auch noch so dark.
Maybe
Alter.
you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask.
Oh
It looks
Mann.
like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Oh mein Gott. Das ist... Oh Gott, das ist dark. Ach du Scheiße. Uff. Kinder nicht zu Hause nachmachen.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Kann man da noch eine andere Entscheidung treffen? Wahrscheinlich nicht, oder? Weil ich meine, ich bin ja schon mal zurück in den Raum
All of
gegangen,
his
dass da nichts
co-workers
passiert.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Boah, ey, keine Ahnung. Konnte man da rechts noch irgendwelche Entscheidungen treffen, die hätten etwas verändern können? I don't know.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ich glaube, da gab's noch was. Also.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ja genau, ich kann ja jetzt gleich
Standing
hier
now
vorne
in
links
this
gehen.
incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood true happiness. Then the feeling went away, and he felt sad again. Then it came back, and lingered for a minute or two. Now it's only half there. Just a kind of, tingle. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Alles klar. First open door on the left.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ups, hab mich wohl verlaufen.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see, we went down right, left, down, left,
Ruft mal eben die Gebeineplan.
Okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Okay. Ich trau dir.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, Who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Du, hat mir gerade quasi gesagt, du Hurensohn. Okay, nochmal zurück. Okay, gut.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, gut. Nicht schlecht.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Okay. Keine Ahnung, wir gehen jetzt mal links. Ach du heilige Scheiße. Ein Labyrinth. Oh toll. Ah. Huh?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Hello?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hallo? Warte mal aus. Scheiß Stromverschwendung hier.
Okay, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Okay. Der war vorher nicht an. Das war vorher, glaube ich, auch nicht umgeschmissen.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Okay. Hey Kumpel, ich glaube, hier stimmt was nicht.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
You win!
Put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job.
You win!
Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Machen wir das jetzt so lange, bis wir irgendwann einen tatsächlichen Restart
All
haben?
right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Folge der Linie, Folge der Linie, Folge der Linie, Folge der Linie. Ich liebe so Brainrot-Scheiß. Folge der Linie, 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 Folge der... Ich hab die Linie verloren.
No,
Ich hab die
no,
Linie
I'm
verloren.
done. We're living it up to the line from now on.
I'm done. Nein, jetzt sag mir... Es wäre jetzt so lustig, wenn ich umdrehe und die Linie ist weg. Bitte lass die Linie jetzt weg sein. Ach, schade. Ich hatte gehofft, dass die Linie jetzt einfach so puff und weg wäre. Das wäre zu geil gewesen. Da läuft irgendwas. Ich kann die immer nur ausschalten. Der war doch vorhin an. Ich hab's nur nicht gesehen. Oh. Hier hat jemand Solitär gespielt. Oh yeah, baby. Das ist der richtige Office-Scheiß.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
To destiny.
Here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I know this train of thought for a minute. Stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I'm going with all that. But I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Oh yeah, baby! Oh yeah, die Adventure-Musik, Alter! Fragezeichen. Junge, diese Adventure-Musik, Digga. Oh, 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 oh. Oh. Employee 434 Kids. Alter! Fisch! Hä? 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 Hä?
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Wow. Das ist eine krasse Pflanze. Ja, jedenfalls gehen wir weiter. Hey, mach die Musik wieder an. Das war voll episch.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Mir selber verwirrt.
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Ja, folge ich noch der Linie, oder?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Ooh.
Yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Wow. Boah, Gänge.
Oh,
Geil.
no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Was ist mit diesem Trademark-Symbol da? Habt ihr es gesehen? Da war gerade ein Trademark-Symbol, einfach random. Okay. Alter, Digga, hä? die einfach so... Und weg war sie.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here,
nein.
the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight times? That's really how all this goes?
Nee, stimmt.
It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree?
Ja,
I'm not
restart
quite sure
gleich.
if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, machen wir mal. Und wir müssen ja jetzt noch im Verwirrungsende sein, right?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Do not alter without consulting whiteboard manager. Rip Franz. Meeting room. Floor 4XX. Group. Cable planning. Smiley. Meeting schedule. Monday. Weekly targets. Marketing Mondays. Group 40X. Group 45X. This guy is too... This box is too small. Oh, wie geil. Office Party. Preview of... Was? Week Review. Okay, ich muss mir das hier alles durchlesen. Was? Tomorrow, complete today's unfinished agenda items. Write next day's agenda. Repeat. Ne, repeat. Oder? Ist das ein P? Ist das ein F und ein L oder ein P? Ich bin mir nicht sicher, das ist so komisch geschrieben. The future was yesterday, tomorrow is now. Digga, was? Targets. Push for... Was? Push for funding for R&D of new coffee machine. Alright, not cost efficient. Get Chris out of the broom closet. Synergy paper. Hire someone to synergize papers. Papers are to synergize. Fire paper guy. Fire somebody to fire the paper synergizing guy who moved my desk. Please keep the targets on the topic of. Egal. Das ist alles so strange. Number of slides on the slide. Charts and slides. Wow! Rate at which charts on the same slide depiction on the same information. Rate of increase in grabs. Was? Oh my god, was ist das? The boss appreciation menu on your boss worksheet. Circle that. Return your boss to appreciation specialist. Solving interpersonal conflict. Self-inclined toward publicness using. What are your dreams for the future? Nature, success, lunch, travel, metamorphosis, clear skin, spring break, hope, less air, less air, okay. Comatose, tips for not getting fired, talk less, do unbelievably amazing work all the time, every day, with no exception of promotion or recognition, don't get fired. How to solve a dispute with a coworker, let it ball up inside you, take it out patiently, aggression, or coworkers, recent coworkers for not supporting you more. It's okay. A lot of percent says of demographic spare between the space between the teenagers. Bro things hier bin. Alter, das ist so bescheuert. To do synergize score expanding shift global market grab repair monetize free to play. Broom closet. Aha,
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Das ist mein Leben. Was mache ich jetzt?
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Schokolade.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused. You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I had a reason for exploring it to find out, but it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
Ich werde mit Maddox darüber reden, Alter. Ich werde ihm sagen, ich habe das geheime Besenkammer gefunden.
Ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That old drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Oh my God.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed in front of your screen. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They are all prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Ich bleib jetzt erstmal noch hier stehen, gucken, ob der noch was sagt. Okay, ich glaube, es kommt jetzt nichts mehr. Hey, ich bin ein neuer Typ.
Second player, it's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Wollen wir mal gucken.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Nee, unten sieht aus wie die Hölle. Ich gehe lieber runter.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Oh my god!
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Fuck.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Yay. Happy End oder so. The fuck? Uh-oh.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Das sieht nicht gut aus. Warum ist überall Papier am Boden? Hallo? Warum ist überall Papier am Boden? Ist das gewollt? New Content?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Na, wollen wir doch mal kicken, wa? Wow. Digga.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Das ist echt schon verfickt.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Wow!
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Wow!
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Ich habe noch nicht mal
this
das normale
sounds
Spiel gespielt,
delightful.
komplett.
I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Hallo? Hallo?
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Give me the content, Stanley. Okay.
All right. All
The
right,
jump
let's
circle.
see. It's the jump circle.
Verbleibende Sprünge. Wenn der leer ist, dann kann ich nicht mehr springen, oder was? Wow, ich kann springen! Wie cool ist das denn? Wow! Der Spaß hört ja gar nicht mehr auf, so viel Content! Oh, schade, ich habe keine Sprünge mehr übrig. Das ist doch schön, solange es gehalten hat.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Oh wow, toll, noch ein Aufzug.
Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes.
Very good.
I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying
That's it?
new content.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Ja, let's go, Digga. Neue Content war scheiße, Alter. Ich mein, Jumpstücke war okay. Hey Kumpel, hier stimmt was nicht. Erzähler, hier ist irgendwas komisch. Erzähler? Hallo?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Hallo, Erzähler? Hallo? Hallo? Hallo?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Wow. Ooh.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Wow. Oh, ist das toll. Wow. The Memory Zone ist süß.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Collectors Edition. 2014 Independent Games Festival Audience Award. Ist das echt? Das ist irgendwas überklebt. Good times. Oh yeah, baby. Diese Bilder. Oh yeah. Ich habe keinen Plan, Alter. Das ist Stanley Parable, Alter. The original remake. The Stanley Parable, Alter. Buy on pressurized gas or download the demo free. Wow, Alter, guckt euch da mal das an, Alter. Hier, Mind Control Facility. Was? Mind Control? Was? 2034, 2013, ja, passt. My first car, the release of the Stanley Parable in 2013. 2013, when Stanley Parable was released. Das sage ich jetzt das nächste Mal, wenn ich mit jemandem über 2013 rede. Smile, because it happened. A trip down memory lane. The Stanley Parable als CD. Mein erster $1. Ach, guck mal hier. The Stanley Parable Demonstration. Okay. Ist ja cool. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Gibt's das echt? Das ist eine Trophäe und Achievement. This is impossible to get this achievement. Was? Nominee British Academy Award. Gesundheit. The Stanley Parable Game Innovation British Academy Games Award 12th of March 2013. Is this real? New video game releasing today. Creator surprisingly down to earth. Was? Rutgers goes from scandal to new crisis. College show uneven effort to enroll poor. Costs hinder new tech to achieve diversity. Business leaders pushing election of console allies. Egal, was? Los Angeles Times Stanley Parable deals tough choices. Es ist das Ende, was ich vorhin hatte. Ja, das musste eingerahmt werden. Wichtig. Oh wow. Oh mein Gott, das ist actually ganz schön.
Je suis dans la mémorisation, c'est sur la pluie des loups.
Wow. And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Skyrim und Persona 3. Ich habe Persona 3 nie gespielt, aber Skyrim, ja. Ich habe da ein paar 1000 Stunden drin. Aber das kenne ich sehr gut. Also ich weiß so ungefähr, was Persona ist, aber ich könnte jetzt nicht sagen, dass ich irgendwie Erfahrung oder so habe. Memory Zone Maintenance. Okay, da komme ich leider nicht rein. It is every game. Oh, wie schön, Leute. Es ist so ein Bullshit hier. Ich liebe so einen Hirnbums. Person of the Year. Person ist ja... Wow. Auch nicht schlecht. Wow. Die rote und die blaue Tür. Warte mal. Wenn ich das Spiel jetzt durch hätte, also wirklich alle Enden gefunden hätte, wäre denn hier mehr zu finden? Wahrscheinlich, oder? Was? People play games because of what they can do inside them, and your game is very good at letting them know they can't do anything. Literally anything.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Was ist das? Rust Ripping Carpet Textures Grey Red. Ich kann das leider nicht sehen, dass das auf den anderen beiden da rechts steht, weil das zu klein geschrieben ist. Meeting Boring. Ah lol, ich dachte gerade, das ist eine Treppe. Lol, was für eine Illusion. So, wenn du voll weit weg stehst, sieht das als ging da eine Treppe nach oben. Oder ich bin einfach nur blöd. Oder ein bisschen was von beiden. The Serious Room 2013. Okay, was ist das? Okay. Kann ich hier raus, oder? Wo muss ich denn dann lang? Hallo? Hallo? Hä? Hab ich was übersehen? Wieder zurück einfach, oder?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
I mean, ich spiele das hier gerade zum ersten Mal,
Wait.
ja.
Hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Hallo? Ew.
Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh yeah. Not recommended. Recommended.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Funny! der Akzent killt mich, Alter. Ey, ich find den schon mies funny. Manchmal ein Arschloch, aber funny. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich hiervon einen zweiten Teil machen werde, weil ich bin jetzt schon ein bisschen verwirrt von den Sachen, die ich noch machen kann. Und ich auch nicht wirklich weiß, wie viele Endings dieses Spiel tatsächlich hat. Und ich wahrscheinlich eh nicht alle finden werde. Locker nicht. Weil ich einfach gefühlt dann 20 Mal das gleiche mache.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Ach Quatsch. Ich find's gut. I mean, man kann's eh nicht jedem recht machen, ne? Irgendwer wird immer da sitzen und sich denken, nee, nicht so mein Fall. Ich find's gut. Ich find's toll. Ich mag Brainrot. Ist immer toll. Oh je.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. Got the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. Got the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was... Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on how exactly pressurized gas works. Perhaps that would have been a smart thing to check on before I went on about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing back Stanley, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30 minutes. It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it. But wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without... Stanley! Push the button in 12 hours! You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews. Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right?
Ich habe
Me
irgendwie das Gefühl, ich
talking
bin die ganze Zeit
and
auf
you
Stumm.
saying nothing.
Das
Would
wäre
you
lustig.
think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel.
Hallo? 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 Oh je. Oh je.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. Every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It's...
Hallo? God damn, Alter, dieses Spiel ist manchmal einfach heilige Scheiße. Es ist an manchen Stellen so unglaublich dark, das glaubt man ja gar nicht. Heilige Kacke.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end,
Ich glaube,
is
der
never the
Erzähler ist
end,
verrückt
is never
geworden.
the end, is never 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 the end.
Der arme Erzähler. Ich quäle ihn aber auch echt schlimm. Ach hey. Oh mein Gott. Wow. Oh. Okay, das ist creepy. Der arme Erzähler tut mir gerade voll leid, Alter. Der ist einfach tot oder so. Okay, skip. Nein, ein Skip-Knopf. Erzähler, 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 Erzähler. Endlich bin ich allein. 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 Oh Mann, ey. Ja, ich bin mir ziemlich sicher, dass meine Synapsen einfach alle einzeln Selbstmord begangen haben. The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. Yay, wir sind wieder in dem Büro. Ja, ich glaube, das reicht dann auch für heute, bevor wir alle noch unsere Synapsen umbringen. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich noch einen zweiten Part machen werde. Vielleicht mache ich noch einen zweiten Stream. Jetzt habe ich aber erstmal noch andere Sachen zu erledigen. War auf jeden Fall lustig. Mein Hirn ist ein bisschen abgestorben. Ich hatte einiges zu lachen und es war auch teilweise sehr verstörend. Kann man spielen. Das Spiel ist sehr gut. Beschweren tue ich mich nicht. Ich fand's gut. Deswegen würde ich sagen, man hört sich, meine lieben Freunde. Und bis dann. Tschüss!